So Starbucks workers who are unionizing opened up to Bernie Sanders in a meeting that he did with them. Now, I want to give full credit both to Bernie Sanders and, in all seriousness, to AOC, who, after she was criticized by Crystal Ball and others, like, hey, you sort of left the Amazon workers high and dry, what did she do? She course-corrected. And her and Chris Malls were in contact, and she was like, I'm showing up for the next one. That's all we wanted. All we wanted was that solidarity and that support. Obviously, Christian was hurt at the fact that AOC said she was going to be there and then dipped at the last moment. I don't know why she dipped, but now, water under the bridge. They squashed the beef because now she's actually showing up for them. That's all we want. So full credit where it's due. Don't be a hack where you criticize her if she doesn't show up, but then if she does show up, there's still criticism. No. Because if the whole point is just show up and then we got you, then that's what it is. Don't make it non-falsifiable that she's damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. Okay? So credit her on that. Credit for Bernie now, going to the Starbucks workers, going to the Amazon workers. What the video you're about to see is stunning. It's Starbucks workers really explaining some of their personal things that have been going on in their lives and what they have to deal with. And Bernie gives a powerful little speech here as well. Take a look.
I walk into a Starbucks and I'm looking for a job. What do I get paid? You know roughly?
I got 12.
How much?
About 15 after me.
You got 15?
13.
13. $12 an hour. Do you know that those are horrendously low wages? Dumb question. Don't you know? Can you afford the health care that they give you? No. All right, so understand, I want you to understand this. Because this is the bullshit the corporations often do. What they say to the public, McDonald's does it, is what Walmart does it. They say, well, we're really generous. We are offering health care, we have this, we have that. And you look at the figures, nobody takes it because they can't afford it. You understand that that is a bad situation. Anybody can walk across the street, get hit by a bus. You have friends who have been diagnosed with serious illnesses, right? It can happen to anybody.
I rejoined Starbucks in July last year whenever I moved to Richmond, and then in late August I was diagnosed with cancer. And so I had no choice but to work full-time hours at Starbucks to afford health insurance so that I could get chemotherapy and all the medications. So I'm working at least 30 hours a week. I'm chemo sick.
What is your name?
My name is TJ.
TJ? All right. Thank you.
Thank God I had my last treatment in January.
I wanted to know how much knowledge you have about the hours you're working in the next couple of weeks.
It's never certain. You can tell your manager how many hours you want to work, and they might give it to you, but it's really it depends on what they get.
All right, so you may end up working 35 hours and not 40.
I can get scheduled 28 hours tomorrow.
Is that sometimes? Is that
But now that we started union efforts, our store has actually hired a lot more employees very suddenly. We're now overstaffed and our hours are being cut.
So what I'm hearing from you is you may end up in a given month with less income than you thought you would have.
Yes, sir.
So it's hard to budget if you don't know how much money you make. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You know, up until very recently, a supervisor of recent has been there 5 years, 10 years, 15, is making the same amount as one that's just starting.
All right, let me see how smart you guys are. Why do they do that? You would think if you work 5 years, you work 1 year. Got a significant more experience.
Absolutely.
Why do they keep you salary?
Do they want us to leave?
Yeah. In other words, look, there are two different business models. One business model, the humane business model. Look, I want you to work your wages, benefits, everything. You're going to move up a lot. Okay? So I want you to say. There's another business model, which is McDonald's, which is Walmart, which I learned today is Amazon. The truth is, I really don't want you to say. Because as soon as you're gone, I don't have to pay any benefits, then the next guy comes in. That is their firm.
So they're trying all these cheap, underhanded tactics in order to crush the union. Howard Schultz has described it as an outside organization infiltrating and taking our workers. He called it an assault on corporations. He's very heavy-handed with his anti-union tactics. There was even discussion about we're going to raise pay, but only for the non-unionized workers. I don't even know if that's legal, by the way. Now, thankfully, we have an NLRB that's not anti-union like the NLRB under Trump was. So a lot of this is able to occur because there is some cop on the beat looking out a little bit for the working people, which is a phenomenal development, and we've seen a lot of places unionize as a result of that. But he's right about that tactic too. You know, they hire more people and try to cut the hours of the people wanting to unionize, and the reason you do that is try to scare them off of unionizing. But honestly, bigger picture here, that's a further argument to unionize, to have more worker protections, so that the company cannot mess with you in that sort of a way. And that's exactly what he's describing there, is exactly what happens at Amazon. They try to overwork you on purpose. They want you to flame out. They want you to quit. Then they want to bring in somebody new and put them through the ringer. So they don't want dedicated long-term employees who have good wages, good benefits, are looked after, and want to stay with the company for a long time. They want quick turnover. That's what they want. It's a terrible business model, and it's incredibly unethical. And it shows like a fundamental flaw with how the system functions and why we need unions as a protection. The part that got me, the first time I watched it, I teared up too, when the worker was talking about, I had cancer and I had to work through it because I needed the health care, and that was the only way I could get the health care. Oh, man. Oh, that's rough. And look, that's another great example of why we need universal health care. We need it. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you have employers can have leverage over people because people need health care. People stay with jobs they don't want to be at just so that they can keep their health care because they need their health care. It gives the owners more control, gives the employers more control over the employees. It's a very backward system. And we're finally seeing the fight back, man. We're finally seeing it with the Amazon union election win, the first one, and all these other workers at Dollar General and all these other stores are contacting Chris Smalls now. Starbucks has had a bunch of victories. I don't even know. It's over 80% of the elections have been on the side of forming a union. And so now they're starting to fight back. Guys, it'll get dirty. They will pull out every trick in the book, but you stand in solidarity and you keep your eye on the prize. You have to look at the macro picture because the macro picture is obvious. Unions, all the data shows this. Unions provide workers with more power, more of a democratic voice, small d democratic voice, higher wages, better benefits. And so they're going to try to make it seem unappealing, and they're going to do the union-busting meetings and all that stuff, but it's all propaganda to keep the status quo going. And I think a lot of workers have caught on to this now, and so they're fighting back. So let's go, baby. Solidarity. Starbucks keep unionizing. I hope the upcoming Amazon election, they vote on the side of the union. I don't know what's going to happen in that election, but look, if there are roadblocks along the way, we'll find a way around them. Because people have realized politicians aren't coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. And one of the best ways to do that is collective bargaining. And it's a new era. It's a new era when it comes to labor politics, and that's now more clear than ever. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.